up a seat to the bar and join us for another episode of McAnally's Pubcast, a podcast exploring the fun and fantastical mind of Jim Butcher's The Dresden Files series. Hosts Tansen, Jess, and Maggie bring you another round of literary analysis on this immense, immersive, and colorful environment inhabited by Harry Dresden, the world's only licensed private investigator and professional wizard. Join an active and engaged community of new and die-hard dedicated fans focused on the fabulous themes, theories, characters, context, lore, and more. This is McAnally's Dresden Files Pubcast, brought to you by Free Flow Rambling. Conjure by it at your own risk. Welcome to the McAnally's Pubcast, brought to you by Free Flow Rambling. This is episode 16.2, Shellycobbs, Shmellycobbs, where we are covering the short story, Something Borrowed. My name is Tansen, and I'm joined by Maggie.
Hello, hello.
And Jess.
270 days. Thank you so much to our Patreon subscribers for your generous support. It's people like you who help us keep doing what we're doing. If you're not yet a Patreon subscriber, sign up today and get a fuck ton of bonus content, kick-ass merch, behind-the-scenes outtakes, and more. Sign up today at patreon.com/freeflowrambling.
Harry's friends, Billy and Georgia, are about to get married. There's just one little problem. Georgia is nowhere to be seen, and there's a revenge-hungry faery on the loose. So Harry tries to call Georgia at the apartment, but gets no answer.
So yeah, he assumes maybe she's gone to visit Kirby, who got big banged up. But Kirby's like, nah, man, nobody loves me. Nobody's been to visit me at all, ever.
Poor little werewolf all by himself.
Feel the love. Yeah. It's because I got a wedding going on. I guess I'm just not important.
You love it. And maybe she's got a hangover too. Maybe she ran off with a male stripper. I waited to see if I was buying it, then shook my head. And maybe Elvis and JFK are shacked up in a retirement home somewhere. Have any of you seen Bubba Hotep?
Nope. No! I don't think I finished it, but I did. I think I got through like the first half of that or something. Yes.
When I read that, I was like, is that a Bubba Hotep reference? It's fun because Bruce Campbell plays
Bubba. Elvis,
who had faked his death so he could get out of the limelight. But JFK is there in the same retirement home, but JFK is black. It's like, and nobody believes him because like there was some kind of experiments done or whatever. And
yeah,
it's totally just the cheesiest thing ever because it involves mummies.
It's Bruce Campbell. It's kind of says it all right there, but.
I was like, I've seen this movie.
And it makes perfect sense. This is totally the type of thing Harry would have seen. And would,
Especially Jim Butcher.
Yes, right? 100%. 100%. Okay, so now he's got to go all the way over there to check on things. So
that's really the most shocking part to me, is that I checked the hospital before I checked the fucking apartment. I'm like, okay, I guess if it's on the way, but I still feel like that's a weird order of events.
Well, but doesn't he?
Go find Georgia. Yeah, I'm going to start with the hospital because we can't hurt. No one's picking up the apartment? Oh, that must be it.
Well, I mean, maybe, yeah, it makes a certain amount of sense because if nobody's picking up, then obviously nobody's there. Why go there if there's nobody there, right? So, I mean, I guess, like, kind of that way.
Also,
I mean, again,
early 2000 security is so abysmal. Press every button until someone lets me in. I've seen that on every show, okay? Home Alone, it all exists there. Going to my friends' houses, holy fuck, I'm like literally this close to being tackled. Like, their security does not play around. I can never get in the building until one of them comes and gets me. 800 people will open up that door, and if I take one step towards it, the security guard is like, your friends aren't here to get you, you can't come in. And I'm like, see me here like every week, man. And he's like,
Wow,
you apparently just have rich friends if they have security guards. Like,
no, seriously, it's like so hard to get into any of their fucking houses. It's so annoying.
Yeah, no, I used to. I can remember from my apartment days. Yeah, absolutely. You just walk in and out, and because again, you get people that are like it's rude. I don't want to not let you in you know what I mean. And I remember there was a whole, don't remember if this was exactly the right one, but a Dateline thing or whatever too on like campus assaults and stuff like that. And they're like, yeah, we just took one of like our backstage producer guys and stuck him in a ball cap. And he'd be like, oh, hang on. And he's like, yeah, fucking like everybody let them into the dorms. And like you're supposed to sign in and almost nobody bothered or checked or let him or whatever. But yeah, there's like so many times exactly. He's like, you know, he'd just like pretend to be looking for his keys or just like, oh, hang on, hold that for me. And he's like, out, like virtually every fucking time people are just like, yeah, no problem, bro, here. And they're like, yeah, so don't do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it totally was a thing. This isn't simply like a media meme thing where you're like, this never happens in real life. I'm like, no, you totally could just buzz
about
buttons.
It before. If you have the clipboard, if you're wearing the janitor's uniform, they'll let you in, do whatever. We've spoken about that. But this essentially just literally being like, no, I'm literally just a man off the street. Can I come in? And they'd be like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
it's fine.
no, for sure. Like, it's like not so much.
You old people are so dumb.
Not so much with the buzzer thing, at least not like in my personal experience. But definitely just like, yeah, like pretending to get your keys or you draw your whatever, just like, oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like you do going in and out of a store, right? We're Canadian. You just hold the door for the person behind you. You assume
I don't
they
do
must
that.
live.
I don't ever hold the door for anyone.
No,
Because you know what? I think it's ruder to make them run across the parking lot.
It is. But yeah, it's just...
If they're right on my heels, okay, I'll hold the door. But if someone's like a good 5 feet, I'm like, fuck you, get your own door.
But
I'm
if
not
you're-
going to make you run to me.
But if you got lucky on timing or something like that... Because, like, again, I don't know if this is just a change in cultural or a whole lot.
You're like Mr. Bean at the mall, just like following people the exact same way they walk, and then they notice you, and they're like, "What the fuck, man?" And you're like,
"Oh, look at that." But yeah, I've noticed now when I'm at somebody's house, they will, like, if the pizza guy buzzes, they go down and get it. In my day, you buzz the pizza guy in, and he came up to your apartment door.
It's rude now. It's rude now to make the pizza guy come up to your door.
Apparently, it used to be rude to make you come down to get it, right? So this is what. So
that's because security. You're not allowed to let people in.
Which, right? That's what I'm saying. Is maybe this has become like a sort of culture. But yeah, but like I say, that's what. So yeah, if you were lucky, like seriously, you just went brrr and buzzed. Like, yeah, if you're like expecting the pizza guy right then, and your buzzer buzzes, you're like, oh, there's my pizza guy, and you might buzz it in without being like, who's there? Because you're expecting somebody to show up.
That's probably what Harry did. He buzzed every number until someone let him in, and it was the guy waiting for pizza.
I've thought about that sometimes. Like, honestly, because again, it happens occasionally still in like stuff I'm reading and things like that too. Where again, yeah, just amateur sleuths. This is just the still method of getting in is just like whack all the buttons until somebody answers.
I just recently saw that on. I'm doing a rewatch of Fringe. And that was like right there.
Yeah, exactly right. And yeah, you get some people that just literally don't give a shit. They just don't want to, and they will just let in everybody that buzzes. Or again, you've gotten lucky in somebody whose sister, aunt, pizza guys. And I always think about that though too. You're like, that guy's gonna be like, where the fuck is the pizza guy? Like, I buzzed him in. Like, how long does it take to get up from that?
And that's when you go, yeah, I probably just let in an axe murderer. My bad, guys.
Yeah, or an amateur sleuth. One of the two.
Amateur. Amateur.
Not
he has a license.
Not in Harry's case. I just said in like the books I'm reading, it's always like the amateur sleuth trying to on TV and shit.
She called you an amateur, Harry.
Not Harry. I meant in real life. It's probably okay.
Okay, as he gets to the door, he already feels some bad mojo.
Yeah. So see, perfectly logical that they would know that Thomas's mojo is way down. You can just sense this shit in the supernatural world, right? Yeah, so I'm impressed that they even bother, like, so yeah.
Like 2 or 3 episodes ago, okay, no one's going to get that reference.
Right, I was just thinking that, I was like, is anyone going to know?
That's fine.
They're not going to know.
They're not going to know.
They're not going to know.
If you know, you know.
That's good, that's good.
But yeah, like he lightly touches the door and the thing just like splinters apart. I'm like, really? They took the time to... I'm like, if they magicked it back together, why didn't they just magic it fixed? And if you could do that, why did you just magic it open? But if you like carefully like stuck the splinters back into, that's a lot of effort for something that's going to fall apart.
We've all had something broken, and when you held the 2 pieces together, you're like, oh, it looks fine, and then you let it actually like rest, and you can see the gap. If you just set the door just so perfectly, and it was just resting just so perfectly.
Right.
The door rattled and fell off the lower hinge. Swung open by a few inches drunkenly, upper hinges squealing, splits and cracks invisible until the door moved, appeared in the... they kicked the door in.
Yeah, I said what I said.
Okay, I'm just saying.
It put it back together almost perfect.
This isn't just like, okay, the last Cub camp we had where one of the bathroom stall doors just randomly fell off. It wasn't the fault of any of the kids, and the one that it fell on was totally fine. Just kidding. But yeah, so yeah, you're right. We just left it off the whole time because they tried to fix it, and it just because the way bathroom doors are, he didn't have the right tools and shit like that, and we didn't because we weren't expecting to have to fix things. So you're right. There, they just kind of rehung the door when they left, and like, case the next person's problem that. But it wasn't like cracked and splintered, and like that's what I mean. You know what I mean? I'm like, it had just fallen off.
I imagine like a saloon door.
Yeah, it's not. It's an apartment door.
No. It's an apartment door that they made. Okay, you ever seen Big Comfy Couch? Okay, Grandma had a 2-part door.
The Dutch to the barn door or whatever.
Made it like that. And they just rested the upper on the lower, and it's fine until disturbed.
No.
Could have used a little magic.
Yeah, if this was just like loose hinges or like a wobbly doorknob, then yeah, you could have just like propped it into place.
How about this? It makes sense to me. I don't care if it doesn't make sense to you. Let's move on.
Story of my life.
The whole place is disturbed, rattled, shaken.
That was the door.
Okay, this is where we brought up that whole threshold thing in the last one. Was that in Billy's short story or was that in Warcry?
I mean, in both.
Thresholds, though. Or we were referencing this.
A lot more on...
Oh, it was in Warcry when the Venatori tried to let him in.
Yeah.
And we were talking about what makes a house a home. And we were getting to this part where they have only an apartment that's rented, but that so much life is happening here. And it is the werewolf headquarters, and that all the friends are here. And Billy and George are being their alpha power couple here, which is apparently enough to make this house a home.
A little bit more than, yeah.
Despite the fact that all of the living that happens in Harry's apartment is bullshit, and the magic doesn't like that version.
It's sad, lonely living, okay? It's pathetic. The man has Star Wars posters, okay? There's no threshold in that.
You're your first post for it. You heard it here first, folks. If you like Star Wars, you're not a real person, and magic doesn't like you.
Yeah, but wait, it just says here that they've got Star Wars action figures.
No! Oh, no! You guys are out.
That's different. Those are the action figures. He has the original, like, gold bikini Leia poster in his basement, which he lives in by himself.
You hear that? If you don't have an original poster, you're a fake fan.
Picky.
It's not us, it's the magic.
I'm sorry, has nobody seen
the door?
The video for I'm So Much Cooler Online? Brad Paisley. I highly recommend it, even if you don't like country. I don't care. Listen to Brad Paisley. He's wonderful.
He's wonderful, but I don't even know that song.
I'm So Much Cooler Online?
Don't know it. And I know a lot of Brad Paisley songs.
Oh my God, it's got Jason Alexander in the video. How do you not
Oh my
know?
God, Jason Alexander? I'm definitely picturing a guy right now.
George Costanza. Do you know George Costanza from Seinfeld?
Oh. Sorry, I was imagining, but now I got it. I was imagining George Lopez.
Similar, but
Costanza, yes.
Subtle
Costanza,
differences.
Yeah, subtle, very subtle.
Anyways, the whole point, he's like on forum, like 6'4", and drive a Maserati.
No, I understood the premise just from the title of the song. I don't need any more examples.
Listen, you.
The door of the fridge.
If you live in your basement
across the room.
Yeah, that's quite the chuck. Like that is a strong thing.
Deep against a fridge, though. Like,
Yeah.
It's difficult to get fridges out. Almost all of them are up against a wall. Shoving your fingers in between there to pull it off just seems painful and unnecessary. Mm-hmm. And also, you're throwing that thing, and you're gonna tell me that no neighbor hears that?
And a microwave embedded in a wall, like.
And no neighbor complained.
It's Chicago. It's gotta be like
crappy neighborhood and students.
Excuse me. Very first book. Person is murdered in their hotel room, and all the cops were called. Maybe a bus boy, a bellboy.
That was a hotel room, and when room service showed up, they were like, they didn't check out, and they bled all over our...
Like, this really is a wild party up there.
Yeah.
They didn't check out, and even worse, there's blood on everything.
Yeah.
Forget the bodies.
That was
one hell of a checkout.
There was no mention of noise complaints.
Checked out.
I think your heart exploding out of your body, other than a little squish and splat, would not necessarily make a big ruckus.
That's covered under our policy, but smoking in the room is not.
And they had the CD player playing, okay? So nobody heard that squish and splat. I'm just saying, like, Chicago is gotta be right up there-ish on New York. New Yorkers are like, we don't ask questions, we don't want...
We all have weird sounds where we're like...
Somebody definitely somebody banged on the wall and said, shut the fuck up. And then she was kidnapped and everything shut the fuck up, so they were happy.
I don't know. I definitely have moments where I hear something and I'm like, did you just die upstairs?
And did you honestly call the cops?
But it's one crash and bang or something like that, or it's one yell or something like that.
That's
it's not
all it takes to kill somebody, Jessica.
Yeah, but this apartment clearly went through a lot more than that, is my point.
Although, it's
the microwave in the wall.
It's fairies that did it.
Fridge across the room.
So you're okay with this, but you're not okay with the door? just wondering.
No, I take turns on what we depend on this show.
That was my. I'm just
Sometimes
saying.
we're pro, sometimes we're
the
con.
fairies could have put like a little cone of silence around or something. But that's what I'm saying.
Spoil
But that's what I'm saying. If the fairies were going to go through to like magic fixing the door, why didn't they fix the door?
Because part of it is also ruining the apartment.
If they didn't, so exactly, if you went to all the trouble to like magically,
We know for a fact they're really good about cleaning up apartments, and if they choose not to,
and yet they didn't.
that's just extra beef, okay? Cherry on top.
We can wreck them as good as we can clean them. It's like mafia protection. You pay for the protection so they don't wreck your store. They're like, you have not had us cleaning your apartment. We're going to wreck the shit out of this thing. And then you'll be like, wow, I wish I had some fairy cleaners to put this back together. And you know what? They probably just had those. You've seen the sold on TV infomercials for the fridge slider outer thingies that like a toddler can pull that thing out. So I'm sure it was no big deal.
Yeah, in the college campus apartment with a fridge that's probably been here since the 80s.
Only the 80s? You're being very generous.
Very generous. Very, very generous.
George is not there. Harry figures
To clarify.
Harry's, I think something maybe went down. He does call the cops. He just happens to call one in particular. She agrees to come over and he says, I need you to make a stop for me. So, okay. She gets to his house. So she's presumably at the station, I believe is where he calls
I presume that she's at work, even though it's probably a Saturday since it's a wedding, but whatever, do what you want.
It's Murphy. Murphy
She's
hasn't
so
dated
lame.
in 2 years.
Was she not invited?
Anyways, but yes, presumably at work, and then has to get from, and haven't they said SI's like downtownish or something?
I don't know.
I don't think it's the same. I could be wrong. I don't know Chicago, but their apartment is in the University District. So she goes from
University District is pretty
Midtown.
mid.
Midtown, I think that's what they said. It's like Midtown is where.
But University is also pretty mid.
Then she goes to Harry's apartment, and then she gets to their building in 8 minutes.
Yeah, that to me is not possible.
Right.
Even with a cop light, I'm like,
And I do like, because Harry says
it would have taken
it's
you
their wedding
longer
day.
than that to find the fucking skull in the basement. You got to be like, there's a which rug am I picking up to find a trapdoor?
Okay, no. We'll get to that. But I don't think she went to the basement. I think she knocked on the door and she asked Thomas for it, and Thomas retrieved it for her.
I guess that is possible.
doesn't
but
know
if
what's in the
Thomas
bank.
was available,
And
why
we
wouldn't
don't
he just-
technically know where she is. She could be answering the cell phone, not like actually at an office. Like,
Yeah, conveniently, Harry, I've been assigned to stake out your apartment this week. I'm right outside.
but she we don't know where she's coming from. So there is
I
that.
know. We don't know where
It
she's
is,
coming from.
but 8 minutes is
This is
bloody impressive.
I was gonna say to get I can barely get from my house to your house in 10 minutes.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with how long it actually.
No, okay.
And also, what's the rush? Harry's
The GPS says it's 10 minutes between your house and my house now, okay? And I'm not stopping to pick up anything on the way and get in and out of the
be
car.
there in 10 minutes. Okay. Whatever you say, Mom.
Approximately. Hey, shut up. I brought you meatballs. Next time I will be on time and screw your meatballs.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
I don't
yeah.
want to see that. No.
Don't ruin my meatballs for me.
Okay, so possibly, I don't know. Yeah, I guess maybe Thomas was at the house. But in which case, you think Harry would just as soon, having seen the apartment, he might as well be like, yo, bring Thomas too. You know, like, obviously some shit went down. I'm not saying Murphy's not capable, but come on. She's not throwing a fridge. Anyways, 8 minutes.
Yeah, we already know from past experiences in these books that time frames are.
Yeah, for losers. Oh my God, Butcher is just, or Dresden, whichever one is responsible, is just ADD. They just have complete and total time blindness. Like, it was 5 minutes. That was 3 days ago. It's going to take me like 4 hours. It's like, we were done in 15 minutes.
It's like they were writing these books and thinking, man, nobody's ever going to actually deep analyze these time frames.
How long it took Murphy to get, nobody's going to care like how long it takes to commute around Chicago.
I'm sorry.
I love this exchange when she gets there, though. And she's like, what did this? And Harry's like, something strong. And she's like, fuck you, bro. And then they whip Bob out, and they're like, so what did this? And he's like, something strong. And she's like, fuck both of you. This is why we love Bob and Harry.
This is why I feel that she maybe didn't go to the basement, though, is because she didn't even realize what the fuck she was grabbing. So I'm like, maybe Thomas was just like, okay, and handed her a bag with it.
I feel she knew what she was grabbing. She just didn't expect it to talk.
Maybe, but...
Still in the backpack from Butters.
Yeah, it's right. Just, you know, he was being really annoying. I just left him shoved in the backpack for a few couple of days worth of just...
Yeah, literally. Timeout spot.
Enjoy that view, Bob. So, yeah. So apparently she brought a bunch of other stuff that's in the car. Do we even ever find out what that is? I feel like we don't actually find out what that is. I don't remember him pulling other shit out of the car. Other than maybe his compass, because he does this tracking spell, but I don't know what the rest is in the car, so what's it all for? Magic. Okay. So, yeah.
Yeah, that paragraph was edited out. It's fine. It's fine.
Not gonna care. Yeah, it's their stuff. That's like when he calls Toot Toot, and it's like, what was the apple for? You never gave him the fucking apple. You just needed the bread and milk and honey.
That's a good point. I forgot we discussed that.
He needed some snacks.
He's like, the apple was for me while I was waiting.
Oh, did I forget to mention the horse that was there, too? My bad.
So, yeah, Murphy's a little bit startled, but okay. So, yeah.
She's like, was there LSD on this?
It would have been even better if Bob was just like, I've been in your house.
Did you ever get the mud stains out of your carpet, Murphy? What? What?
You know what, Dresden? Fight back on.
So yes, Bob the magical lab assistant. So yeah, after the something strong, Bob is like, it's fairies. It's totally fairies. Definitely. And because, yeah, nope, lost it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, nope.
So while Bob does that, Harry's like, I'm going to call Billy and tell him that his wife has definitely been murdered and kidnapped.
Not necessarily in that order.
One or the other.
Either or, both and.
Only to find out on the phone call, what do you mean, Harry? George is here right now.
Yeah, I can't hear you. There's some... Oh, conveniently enough, it's a noisy wedding venue and Harry and phones. Yeah.
Every time.
What? Yeah, no, she's here. Yeah, she just walked in. Thanks, bye. Which, again, great. But, I mean, again, considering, like, 90% of your interactions with Dresden, I would maybe make sure you hear what he's saying over the... I get, you're like, yeah, she's here, and, you know, you got wedding shit on
now
the brain.
I have a bride but no best man. What the hell?
I know, apparently that's less. She's like, whatever, just fucking that. I just spent all that time to get...
They always say if you get separated in a forest, stop walking, stay where you are, let people come find you.
Hug a tree.
And what do these guys do? They all just split up and go randomly about the city.
Constantly. It's like, what? That's the whole point. Billy's like, I got a whole pack of werewolves. Kirby's out. Okay, Dresden's out. Alex, what do you...
How's your suit?
Suit for an usher, suit for a groomsman, best man.
Next.
Close enough. Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah. Just swap out your cummerbund. We'll be good.
Only the worst part is for Georgia, you've got 11 bridesmaids to Billy's 4 groomsmen. It looks all lopsided now. The wedding's ruined.
Now you gotta cut some of them out. Plus, he's like this ginormous giant, so nobody's gonna match up with him. Oh, yeah, plus you were saying, is Murphy not invited? I mean, technically, this is still like a couple hours before the wedding when he had to go looking for her. So, in theory...
Potentially she was gonna go too, but he does say on the phone, Murph, it's their wedding, to try and make her speed up. Because maybe she was gonna take 10 minutes, but he was like, it's their wedding. So she was like, all right, 8
yeah,
minutes.
You're right. That's right. Yeah, he does. Yeah. So, because I was gonna say maybe she's invited like to the reception. Yeah, but you're right.
And then obviously
whatever. She's
we
just an
know
acquaintance.
the threshold took out the fairy zing, so they weren't able to cover their tracks, which is how we know it's fairies and how we know their threshold was quite strong. So good job, fucking alphas.
Yeah.
And then, tried and true, steal some hair.
I mean, in all fairness, at least he didn't have to like rip it out of her head or anything. He just, got some that was already conveniently laying around.
He got it from the hairbrush, and I guess you do really have to rely that George is a clean person and like cleans out her hairbrush quite often, because I don't know how fast hair dyes, but quite frankly, personally, I don't know that you'd get the right hair for me. I clean out my hairbrush
once a year. You and your sister
a little bit
are
more
okay.
often than that, but definitely not after each use, and definitely not after like.
I do.
I would,
almost every time.
Every time I take the hair out of my.
Mine's like probably every 2 months.
It's very, 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 very rarely that I will not do it immediately after you.
If I know I have company coming over.
No, yeah, your sister. I could have sworn this is something I do. I could have sworn
you didn't
this
teach
is
us that apparently.
Apparently dismissed. I never passed on the fact that you need to clean out your hairbrush. So yeah, Georgia apparently has to lie somewhere in between. She can't clean it every time, but dear God, I hope she cleans it more often than my children.
Yeah, so Bob's figured out that the latest magic is wolf transformation spell and that the fairies were present and intentionally tried to cover their tracks.
So Georgia wasn't taken completely unawares, and she got some licks
She
in.
tried to fight back. Again, neighbors didn't give a shit about this werewolf fight happening literally next door.
They're like, oh my God, they left their dogs
So annoying.
in the apartment
That's
again.
the thing, is I think even more, at least you'd have people like, this is a dog-free building, motherfucker. Isn't this on college campus?
No, I think this is like close by, it's not because they also say it's not a very good area.
It's like college area, but it's not.
Because we already knew that the area around
student
college
housing
wasn't good, because that's why the Alphas have to fucking patrol it every night.
Yeah,
Right.
they have their own apartment.
Okay,
It's not like college dorm apartment.
So Harry does the tracking spell, and OMG, it's facing south. Wedding's up north.
So what? Oh
shit!
That's why that matters.
That's not good.
She be stolen by fairies.
Yeah. They're like, oh, they're trying to place a spy. No, it's definitely malicious. I don't know who it is yet. I don't know what they're doing there, but they're not just spy. There's all right, don't put words in their mouth, Harry. You don't know.
I was gonna say, I get a little bit, fairies don't keep track of time the same way, because I'm sure, 5 years for fairies, literally nothing, like last week, who gives a shit, right? But at the same time, it also is a little bit like, damn, guys, get over it. We won fair and square. Jeez, sore losers much.
I don't even fully... other than, I guess, the only...
Like, they killed the summer lady, not the winter lady.
This is my point. I'm like, Harry was working for your side. So the only way is I'm like, oh, they're just pissed because Maeve didn't get to, like, Harry turned him down.
Maeve was humiliated because of her, like,
during her interrogation or
Harry.
whatever.
I get that. Like, she wasn't able to fully manipulate him, and he didn't sleep with her wench, and like whatever.
Yeah,
I get it.
I know, but
it's just a little insulting. He was still working for you guys.
He was working for you
and
guys.
And he killed the summer lady.
He killed the summer lady. He caught your traitor. He did the whole. It all came out aces for you. Like,
you did not win
why
with these
are
guys?
you getting revenge on your own guy? I'm like, I'm pissed you won that for us.
No, seriously though, like, it's so unfair.
I know, but I was like, yeah, I guess it has to do with that one specific
technically, we
reason.
hired Harry, not the Alphas. They were just bitch asses that were there.
I know. Right. We didn't invite you to our war.
Yeah, right? So fuck you.
War crashers. You can just
War crashers.
Yeah, it was,
So Harry informs Murphy that Billy is in trouble too because the wedding is a binding ceremony with magic undertones. I did have a good little chuckle when I read that part. What happens if he marries a fairy? Conservatives get real upset.
I love that line. I was going to bring that line up too. Conservatives get real upset.
Nice.
I'm not sure magically. Yeah. Yep, true that.
But Bob also informs them that if the wedding does happen, Billy will be bound to the fairy, like the knight is bound to the queen, and that he'll likely go insane.
Or just die. Like, either they're going to kill him right away, or he'll go insane, or
real bad.
And, of course, that means definitely George is going to die then. Yeah, the whole thing, there's just a lose all going around here. And Harry's like, well, fuck. He's like, well, we can take off the spell or whatever, right? Or is that not until they find her? And I guess that's not until they find her, because then he...
Also, that whole more in the car thing, I think, is literally just about, like, weapons and ammo, not, like, tools of Harry's.
Right.
I don't know, but she hands him the thing, and she's like, the rest is in the car. Okay. So it sounds like she picked up some more magical doodads and gizmos for... And then, yeah, she's got more.
He didn't know what his plan was yet. Now he knows, and he's like, you know what? I only need an apple.
Well, now that I know it's fairies, I should have got you to stop and pick me up some bread and milk on the way. Yep.
And then she confirms it is the weekend. So she is a loser who's at work on the weekend.
That's true. But Murphy's like a dedicated loser, not like Harry loser. She's not like I live in a basement loser.
As somebody
like
who works on the weekend, I'll decide who is a loser.
Who also lives in a basement. I think we both decided who the
With
loser is.
Mitch Matt's furniture, I'm on my way to being a wizard, yo.
That's true. She can kill a computer at 30 paces, too. So, and you should see the number of phones she's gone through.
Mm-hmm.
So...
I'm not sure throwing them counts.
But point is, she breaks a lot of phones.
Just wouldn't piss me off so often.
Just says they don't work. It doesn't say why they don't work.
Why does this not work? It just bounced off a wall. It's fine.
Why am I even buying $80 cases if they can't handle a little bit of fall damage?
Right? Just a little bit. Because they only test them for like 60-foot drops, and Jessica's like, you guys aren't trying hard enough.
Well, if I'm really mad.
I can whip this thing like a major league pitcher, okay?
Yeah, you know what's stupid is that me throwing at the wall breaks it, but when I dropped it in train tracks in Greece and a train went over it, literally nothing happened. It was fine.
Greece know how to do a train.
And they don't give a shit about my phone, apparently. Very delicate trains out there.
fuck these, like, I want to say styrofoam.
I don't know. I literally,
these
fuck putting
drywall.
a penny on a train track. You can put your whole phone there. I know. I've tested it.
I thought this is okay. So yes, you guys know how exactly you can. Usually not on a train track, but now do you have like the little machiney things or whatever where you can like press a penny or stretch it and put like. Yeah, I was so funny watching them the other day, and this woman did like one comedy celebrity guest person, and she was like, "What are you guys talking about?" And they're like, when you go to the zoo, and she's like, I was so funny because like literally everybody else, and she's like, "How have I never heard of this?" They're like, "I don't know."
That's pretty crazy. How old was she?
It was Nicole Byers. So what is she, in her 30s?
Oh, that's definitely old enough. I was thinking like maybe like a brand new like 18-year-old kid where like
No.
it never existed in a world that had pennies.
Not even. Yeah, I was like, she is.
Was this an interview or real life?
No, it was. Are you smarter than a celebrity or whatever?
Okay, so she's American, so they still have pennies.
They still have pennies. Yeah.
I was like in Canada, and a young person I could understand because like they've never lived in a world that has pennies. Maybe they don't know what a
They'd
penny
have to
press
be
is.
really young.
Yeah, but I mean it's been
Like 6 years.
no, way longer.
When did we get rid of pennies?
Anyways, we're also going to stop for donuts. Because fuck you,
Because they're
Georgia.
Americans, or
Because Murphy's a cop. 2013. It's been 12 years.
wow. Okay.
So,
But again, you still have to be a 12-year-old.
Yeah, but as someone who's already 6 years old and not handling money, plus another 12 years, they're 18 years old now.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit surprised that Harry didn't just ask Murphy to go straight to the wedding to talk to them, to be like, hey, don't get married, and we're working on this, we're working on rescuing, but don't marry this person.
He tried. He phoned. Billy hung up on him. He got his one phone call. It's never going to work if you... Oh, that was it. No, that was
I mean, it's a good thing she
died.
did come along,
Murphy,
but it was
can
like...
you go call the venue and tell them to stop the wedding?
You're a cop.
I get that it can't really work, but at the same time, we already saw her at the airport, and she was like, bomb threat at the airport, and I get that was maybe a bigger situation than just one couple getting married, but still, I'm like, surely she could have sent one cop friend to be like,
Yeah, there was a lot of options
there's a gas
here.
leak.
Somebody else had to have a phone on
Send the
them.
fire department.
Like, Dresden doesn't have anybody. I know Billy and Georgia, and that's it. I don't interact with the rest of you.
Hey, Michael, like, you're probably at church right now. Just hanging
They're
out.
not at a church. They're at like a fucking hotel.
Oh,
There
damn
has
it.
to have been someone. But for the
Yes, exactly.
benefit of the doubt of this story, otherwise it wouldn't have really
I
existed
know, but you're
properly.
right. Just
then
call the fucking hotel manager and be like, we're detecting a CO2 leak there. You need to evacuate.
Right.
the
Bomb
building
threat,
for an
bomb
hour."
threat.
Like,
It's like, we get it, but you tried to write in like, okay, Harry can't use phones, but there's still a million
literally
other
everyone
ways.
else he knows can. So
And
in this
radio-
world
yeah.
and age where we all walk around with
Yeah,
phones constantly.
it's still not quite good enough for Harry himself.
time is of the essence, so we have to go downtown.
Downtown.
Luckily, we got there in only 4 minutes.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah, they drove mopeds there.
And they weren't stopping for donuts on the way. He was just bribing her with donuts so she came and helped him. She's like working on a weekend. So I guess actually maybe he called her at home. But I still don't think Murphy lives like 5 minutes from Dresden's house. Because she was like, on
And
the
she's-
weekend?
she was-
Sounds too much like work.
Dressed a little casually too, so
She would, which I could see if she, even at the office on a
Wait,
weekend.
are we the losers who just assumed she had nothing better to do than be at work when he called?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe. I mean, sometimes she is. We've seen Murphy at work before on.
she's
Regardless.
actually hanging with King Kane.
Yeah. But anyways, the point is,
They're watching a movie.
they're not.
But she answered the phone. Lieutenant Murphy, Special Investigations. Is that just how you answer your personal cell phone or house phone would also be weird?
House phone would really be weird. Cell phone, I could see if it is just the one phone. Because I feel like a lot of them do have just like the one, so they would. Again, any book I read, they always answer detective on. So.
Anyways, moving along, Harry does mention the worst part about being a wizard is that they cannot just snap their fingers and not have dirty dishes or like have a magic carpet.
What
and
the
blah, blah,
fuck
blah.
is even the point?
I agree that is bullshit.
What is even the point?
I read one book series where spells came from idioms.
Interesting.
So, like, it had to be a famous enough idiom that it had meaning behind it for it to work. So, clean as a whistle worked to clean things up, but literally as well as a whistle. So, it wasn't even like that good. It'd be like, great, I feel a little bit like brassy right now or something like
little
that.
as what?
Clean as a whistle.
Yes. It was after that. What did you say?
That it only worked as well as like a whistle. So, people would be like, oh, great, I feel a little bit brassy right now or something like that, you know?
Oh.
And things to that nature. But clean as a whistle is more of a British saying. And so when they went to America and tried to use that, not enough people in America said that idiom, and so the spell didn't work. And they were like, oh, fuck, I don't know American idioms. I can't. And they couldn't cast any spells while they were there. They were like, what's a famous all around the world idiom that we can use while we're in America? And they were like, what do people say out here? We don't know things. And they were just trying to like
That is
come up
kind
with
of
phrases.
funny. What is that?
I will give it to you later. But Yeah, anyways, point is that it was an interesting concept. And
That
it was
is a neat,
cute
yeah.
and fun to see the way, but
Kind of like abracadabra to open sesame, you know.
a little bit
It's
too,
like-
but I would say if I was in that wizarding world specifically, I would be like putting millions of dollars towards like, the dishes are always clean, the dishes are always clean. Something to that effect. Like, let's just all say it at the same time, guys. Let's all believe that this cool phrase, the dishes are always, or, I don't know, but
So is that so
Commercials
like every,
popular enough.
I'd be like a politician and be like, what's
so
my
it's like
slogan? It's gotta be
everybody
cool,
could
so.
use magic, then you mean? Like
No,
anybody
It's
can?
not.
Oh, it
You
still
had
was
to have-
only.
You still have to go to like magical
Okay.
Hogwarts and whatever.
Okay, but yeah. But yes, I could see how you would want to bring into effect a few key phrases.
Yeah, I would just be like, it felt that the wizarding world in those novels were not doing their part to
adequately
force
cover all the
really
bases.
good spells onto the people at large. They were just letting the people at large come up with really cool, interesting things
So,
to say. And
if you're hungry enough to eat a horse, did you have to eat a horse, or could you
I
produce
think you're just
donuts?
eating a horse.
I mean, great, but also, I
literally can't think of a single other spell right now outside of clean as a whistle to even think of another example. But there was multiple times when things like that messed them up.
turn on a dime. I don't know why you have to turn that fast. I got a spell for it, but
Point is, I get it, Harry, and I actually don't think that you were being facetious here or exaggerating. I think that it does suck that you can't do that.
yeah.
But no magic comes without preparation.
And he can whip up a damn good tracking spell. Except for tiny things where he's like, oh, I never thought about like y-axes and ups and downs and ins and oh my god, okay. So he's
So I say not a damn good tracking spell.
Yeah, I can get you to the general vicinity.
And 1 book ago, this would have been acceptable. Since seeing that brand new spanking GPS with Butters, he should have been like, wow, my tracking spell could do a lot better.
This thing has to obviously like forever be evolving. Because we've seen him use a couple different kind of versions, and we've seen him talk about way in the beginning that exactly, especially working for like Nick Christian, is the tracking spell is a really good thing to have. You would think by now there's more than once you've had to
What's the water tuning fork thing called?
dowsing rod.
Yeah. First of all, bro, even that's more accurate than your bullshit.
Depends who you ask. But yes, exactly, right? You think, yeah, last book or not, you think there's a few instances now where Harry is like, okay, come on. I mean, even friggin' Faith tried to almost hide under a
Yeah,
bridge
right.
or something, like, you know. If that troll had got her, Harry never would have under the bridge. I don't know. Where's that? Sorry, your
figure
kid's
it
just
out.
gone. It says she's standing right here, but I don't see her.
But Murphy, with all her infinite wisdom as a cop, is like, let's find the shadiest looking spot ever and go there. And sure enough,
Yeah.
entrance to the underground.
Although they do say that. Oh, yeah, because he does say, let's call in all the king's horses and men. And she's like, no, Rudolph's a slimy little jerk in general. So, again, maybe not a bomb threat. You think, yes, there's a dozen other calls she could have made to the venue or somebody in the wedding party. But I guess maybe that's part of why. That's the
Fair
other
enough.
reason
She's
why.
gotta be on the up and up.
Yeah, she can't be doing crazy
Stupid
shady.
fucking Rudolph.
Oh, my
Ruin
God.
everything.
Hate that guy.
Oh, that one you remember?
Okay, but you know,
How could I forget?
actually, this doesn't make sense. Because he's like, where would a fairy take... Oh, never mind. I thought they were talking about the wedding for a second. They're talking about the neighborhood. Because I was like, they don't go to a church. He goes to like a conference. But yeah.
So they make their way through this sort of old schoolhouse thing and then a tunnel with water. And I don't know if I've just been watching too many like TikTok videos of the dangers of standing water, but like all I can think of when I read that is now that they have like flesh-eating disease or some deadly bacteria in their feet. Like,
But this is why I get so mad. They wasted an hour on this shit. And it's like, are you kidding me? All these other things, stopping at the hospital, going to the apartment.
It
calling
took her 8 minutes
Took her 8 minutes, and
to
then
make 3 stops over half the city.
and you're comfortable to stand here for an hour. And again, Murphy goes to
the
call
charm.
Billy and Georgia after an hour.
Yeah.
And they still aren't picking up. I feel like at that point I'd be like, okay, where the fuck is my best man? And I would want to be calling him. Maybe he was busy before the first call.
Well,
But
he
at this
knows
point,
he knows he can't call Harry back. Because if Harry's
his
now left
battery's
the
dead or
apartment...
something.
Well,
Oh,
his
right,
battery, but Harry doesn't
Harry-
carry a cell phone.
Right.
So if Harry has now left the apartment to come to the
But
wedding...
still, Murphy tried to call.
Yes.
Also, Harry's the last person in Chicago who even memorizes cell phone numbers at this point. He's like the only one, because I was just thinking about that now, because I'm about to go on a trip, and I'm like, well, I only have my mom and my sister's phone numbers memorized. And now, if they don't come through for me, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
And there's a very good chance they'll both be asleep when I call. It's just wasting an hour on this shit. I'm
Thank
like,
God
seriously?
for smokers. Smokers are saving the world. Because if somebody hadn't driven by and flicked a cigarette butt and it hadn't bounced down into the sewer, they'd still be looking for Georgia, okay? So,
What grounds out magic? Fucking Harry, what the fuck, man? How fucking hard is this? It's your fucking job.
this is your first time.
I feel like you explained this to us in book one. So simply.
fairies.
I get we all have brain farts, but what the hell, man? It's just annoying to me how much time they waste on this bullshit. It's like, come on, we have things to do right now.
I know. That's the only problem sometimes with the short stories and things like that. It's like, I get you got to give everybody a quick little sum up and catch them up to speed in case like they've just stumbled across this in an anthology and have no idea what your world is. But yeah, for the dedicated readers sometimes it's like, again?
But okay, finally, we're going down to Undertown. Finally.
Undertown.
It's ugly standing water. Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is gross water.
Yeah. And Murphy's like, I just thought there was a couple of like abandoned subway tunnels. I didn't know there was all this. And once again, yeah, we get the explanation of how Chicago was sunken on itself like 47 times and there's actually like 150 layers to it. And not just rats down there. So finally we find her. And she's laying on a rock, like an inch above the water, out in the middle of a underground lake pond.
Fully naked.
Well, of course.
I didn't read that at first until like after it was like, oh, she was naked?
Yeah, the whole time.
Oh.
Yeah. Which I get the whole, shifting in and out of werewolf skin, you lose all your clothes because you shredded it all fine. But like,
Right.
come on, not like one sheet down here. You fairies are so rude.
They don't get like, we're going to kill you anyways, bitch. Be cold.
I don't think I remembered her being that tall either. Like,
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
she's, like,
she is.
Totally
Yeah.
keep
That's what's
forgetting
so
these
cute
things.
about them.
I
Billy's
don't know
like-
what anybody looks like in any of this stuff.
No, Billy's like 5.5 feet tall and stocky, and George is like 6 feet tall and
To
skinny.
be fair, I don't particularly care about character descriptions either. I'll imagine whatever the fuck I want. What are you gonna do? Come into my head and shoot me? Like,
To a degree, but if there's like specific, right, like not imagining Harry tall would really take a lot away from the experience, right? You have to.
yeah, Harry's tall, but like side characters, it rarely matters.
Yeah, but certain things like
if
that.
you say a character's hot, I'm gonna imagine someone hot, not whatever the fuck you're trying to describe.
Yeah,
here.
I don't care what you think is hot.
Yeah.
This is my version of
Exactly.
hot. Yeah, yeah. That's like for the longest time. I always have, for some reason, I don't know, Justine often comes off as like auburny or redhead in my hair. And I don't know why, 'cause she's got black hair. But I think it's just something about the way he always describes her, like smelling like strawberries or something, or having like
Fair
this
enough.
pale
Yeah,
pink
I
skin
always
or something
pictured her
like-
with brown hair, not black. And like Laura,
Yeah, like more like reddish
It's so
brown.
hard to remember Laura has black hair. I always wanted to be blonde.
Oh, no, that doesn't. That's for me. Laura, I can definitely see with black hair. But yeah.
I try and change it to like Elvira sort of imagery, but I always have such a blonde Laura in my head.
I can't go quite as far as Elvira. That's a little too camp for Laura. But yes. No, yeah, I just funny. Yeah, that Justine was always.
I'm down for it.
Now I'm probably going to fucking picture like fucking Elvira every time. And just, oh, man.
A young Elvira.
A
you
young
know?
Elvira, but still hard to take that shit seriously.
She is now Cassandra Peterson. It's good.
Anyways.
How you want to do this? I'm gonna go first, and then I drop to the ground, and you deal with it on your own, motherfucker.
Yes, because Cabrini Green's tactics work so well in the first
Yeah,
place.
exactly. There's no way they're gonna do that twice, right?
I mean, vampires with cameras around here. Let's just make sure.
Technically, it started out all right in the first place. They did take down the little wannabe red shirt vamps. Just things got more serious after that.
Especially because you did just hand off everything to Mavra in the last book, and you're like, here you go have a fun life. And now you're just underground again. You're like, it's fine. They won't be here again. This is
fine.
They said fairies.
We have even less people with us this time. No way this is going to go wrong.
So her skin is even discolored from the cold, and that's got to take a lot of effort for a werewolf of all things. That's got to be like major life force sucking having been done. And they clearly cannot wake her up because she's not responding to shit, and also she allowed herself to be dragged down here. So good to say she's at least concussed, if not worse.
She's in not good condition.
She's not in good condition, although I feel like when you're not wearing the fur, you're going to get just as cold just as fast from your ordinary human skin.
I don't know. I'm thinking like Billy, the extra life
earrings.
force thing that they had going on. Sure, the werewolves aren't What is the
I
word?
do kind of wonder, like, when they're not in wolf form, they're not engaging that spell, they're just normal humans,
See, we
right?
had this whole discussion a while ago about whether Billy could hear her or smell her or something like that, or at the park.
Well, and
we're
Billy
like, so
mentions
can
that
they
apparently he can. Apparently Billy can have better senses when he's a human, because he mentions it sometimes. He's
Yeah.
like when they were doing that whole fairy thing in Summer Night, he was like, oh yeah, I could smell them. They were like this. And
Yeah, I was
he
going to
in
say, I
wolf
remember
form.
sort of having
He was
this
in wolf form
conversation.
at the beginning of that encounter, so maybe he's just remembering the smell from before he shifted, but...
Doing the smell so much, it just sort of changes your DNA a little bit.
Yeah, which I'd be okay with. I mean, we had this whole question back in fucking Full Moon of the 3 different versions of werewolf that were presented to us and which one was more animal, beast, whatever, and which spells transferred over to you and helped you be...
You only have wolfy senses and wolfy form, or do you have to sort of actively, like flick out your little wolf ears and then... Regardless, though, I guess, I don't know that I know. I figured just naked, laying on a rock in the middle of the water, I'm like, you're going to get cold. Even if you're, you know what I mean? I mean, even fucking like Siberian Huskies get cold if you leave them outside in the snow and like minus 30 for, But either way, yeah. So whatever.
So,
Easy peasy.
yeah.
They'll just pop in and grab her, get out.
Yeah, Harry starts to try to figure out that he's going to work on the water spell, and then suddenly, chop, 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 things attacked from the water. I let out a battle cry. Sure, a lot of people might have mistaken it for a sudden yelp of unmanly fear, but trust me, it was a battle cry.
Totally.
Fucking Shellycobbs.
It's just kind of a fun word to say.
It is fun to say. I'm much more with Murphy's like, what? Who cares? Just shoot. I don't give a fuck what they're called.
Whatever, die!
Although, at least in all fairness, for once, Harry's like, it's not going to be that easy. She's like, why not? He's like, because it never is. But yeah. And yet. But yeah, I love how he's like, but you can never actually, it's the whole expect the unexpected. He's like, I know something's going to happen. I just don't know what.
But literally the water being magic itself is like so unfair.
Oh,
This is the one thing that's supposed to be
You might as well
free
just
that
be
you
rowing
get.
out to the middle of the lake to drink a cup of poison or something.
Seriously,
Like,
what the hell, man?
dude, there's just
Not fair.
not fair. And again, I get it. It makes sense.
It gives me Harry Potter vibes, this whole cave. I'm like,
Right?
Yes.
But how he's just like, do you trust me? And she's like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, okay, sure, I trust you, but can you still tell me what the plan is before sure, that's okay. I don't care if I'm making a pot of macaroni and cheese or saving some naked woman. Can you just give me a few steps so I know what's expected and what I'm...
I don't think they have a lot of time to discuss those plans.
Sure, now they don't have time. When they want to figure out what building, they have like hours to sit around and discuss, where she... Yeah. Again, real convenient. But yeah, just one of those plot devices where they're just like, trust me, do it. And they're like, okay, and just automatically do it. I'm like, how the fuck?
That's always in real life, though. Everyone's like, it's okay, you'll know what to do when the time comes. I'm like, I probably won't.
No,
Thanks for the confidence,
now
but probably I won't.
Now I'm all panicked about it. Now I'm overthinking.
How to trigger my anxiety.
Yeah.
I will overthink this and miss the cue.
Yeah.
Is this it?
I will be
Is this
so
it?
busy
Oh,
thinking about the podcast in an hour, I will drive by the exit to the town I'm going to. Oh, I'm sorry, you want me to take you to your house, not my house? Oh,
Crazy.
That's going to be a problem now. Yeah. But yes, he blasts a wall of fire and Murphy just jump. Well, okay, in all fairness, he gives her a little bit of a push. But he's like, just jump over this wall of fire. And Murphy's like, okay. Like, no question about it. She doesn't know he's going to give her a boost yet. She's just like, okay, hopefully I can jump over it. Which, no offense, that would be a little... If you're not have you ever had somebody do that? Like, you're going to climb on or over something and somebody gives you, like, an unexpected boost and you're like, I was not, and you just made it worse?
Yeah.
I'm like, Murphy, I feel like she just would have been... Like, there's no way she would have stuck that landing.
Especially with all that extra weight. I'd be like,
Right, just out of
She's
nowhere.
a martial artist. It's
She
fine.
is, which is fantastic.
It's Murphy. She's awesome sauce.
She is.
Little known fact, her and Harry practice this all the time.
She's like, so ever since he started coming in for like
Aikido?
his like quarterstaff training, yeah, she's like, on the side we do like just magical gymnastics where he just like flings me around and up walls and fire escapes and
Some weeks I dodge fireballs, some weeks he throws me, some...
yeah. But yes, at least thankfully that's all there is. There's nothing else like strapping her to this rock. So poor Murphy's like, can you carry her? I'm like, oh, I guess if I have to, I'm going to.
Yeah, right?
Like,
Why can't you bitch?
yeah, she's like a foot taller than me, but okay, I will, try not to bash her head on the ground while I'm throwing her over my shoulder.
And even like taking off your coat for her, maybe, Harry, or anything like that. Like, they wait until they get back to her car when Murphy has a blanket in the car to
Again,
wrap
they
her.
have no time. You just have to trust me.
I know, but
Hello, naked friend.
We are taking...
are about to emerge onto a regular street with people and businesses.
But it's a shady, deserted part of town.
Don't worry, I'm a cop. Click. Wee.
Once they figured out the building, Murphy just drove around back, parked in the loading dock, so it was
convenient
totally
of
not suspicious.
That was good of her.
Right,
She
yeah.
had an hour, I guess, to repark. Sure, whatever.
They were just driving slowly around the
She comes back out, saw she got towed.
It's like, is it this? That's like we've got like Luigi's Mansion 3 and for the Switch or whatever, and he's got like the goo stuff in his thing can also make like gooey kind of a thing. So when these certain ghosts are around, he like will vibrate. And seriously, sometimes you're like literally walking up to all these things, just I'm like, is it vibrating more here? Is it vibrating more here? So that's like all they did. They just drove around, and she's like, is it tingling more here? Is it tingling more here? You know? Which one? Yeah, and then, so she gets her, has to jump back through, and gets singed a little bit. He didn't give her a boost back through the other side while she's carrying somebody.
Traffic wasn't good, and they have less than 10 minutes before the wedding is gonna start. So they're pretty fucked.
Yeah, this took me a little bit because it was like, okay, well, I guess they have the ceremony to actually go through, so it's not immediate. They've got 10 minutes to like.
I get in Harry's
like,
world,
oh.
the most important thing is saving my friend from being murdered. But in my world, I'd be like, I can't believe I'm late for the wedding. Everyone's gonna be mad at me. Like, I'm not supposed to be the best man. I'm supposed to be on stage right now. So all Harry's thinking is like, I've got loads of time before the I do's. And I'd be like, no, you're already late, motherfucker. Get up there.
And it only takes that long if you're having like a religious, like Catholic wedding or something like that.
Let's say I was like a regular one is just sign some papers. Say your vows, go.
Yeah, there's not a, you don't have like 17 readings to go through before. So yeah, you don't have as much time as you think, Harry. Apparently all these non-friends of his need to invite him to a few.
Fake Georgia had a long aisle to walk down.
Right? Like, hope like all brides, she's still futzing around, trying to get those, you know.
And then throughout all of this, now hopefully with the Shellycobbs in the water, because otherwise I felt that there was zero clue as to who Jenny Greenteeth or why Jenny Greenteeth, and outside of the fact that she's Dave's right-hand man. But he seems to have figured it all out now. Not an hour ago, not 2 hours ago, but now finally he seems to understand the plot happening.
Yeah. And yeah, literally, it doesn't seem like a lot to go on, but we're like, okay, sure.
Sure. Might as well, whatever.
Might as well as good as anything else. So yeah, so he pulls Bob out to be like, okay, so we can totally like figure out what this spell is and take it off her, right? And Bob's like, no.
What we need is two loves kiss.
What? But yeah, and I love how Bob does his usual like double speak kind of a thing. I was like, I thought you told me you could. I didn't.
This is actually,
couldn't do it.
I did have to read this a few times. I'm legitimately confused about exactly how this is going to work. So you can wake up Georgia, but Billy will die anyways. Because
the
Billy
fairies
cheated on her, and fairies, now it's not true love, so fuck you.
Well, yeah, Billy will just still get like eaten and sucked dry by the fairies.
Yeah, because he married Jenny Greenteeth, so now she
Yeah.
can do whatever she wants to him because
Yeah.
she's his husband.
Yeah,
He's her.
and Georgia will, because now it can't be if he actually goes through with it, it's no longer
true love, because clearly he's a cheating liar.
It's corrupted, yeah. And if they just try to blow it up, it's got a built-in self-destruct, so they'll just kill Georgia if they just try to like break the spell on her, kind of. It's like, dead man switch or whatever, like doesn't matter what wire you cut. So yeah, there's a whole thing in and around, and even Harry's struggling with this a bit. Like, how do you can't break it. I didn't say you can be, but yeah. So I thought how Murphy's the one that figures it out too. So he's like, well, what's the important part of the wedding?
It's the kiss, Harry. It's the kiss. Buffy's right. I'm like, oh, I'm like, ah.
Right.
I did like that little homage.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun, like thinking of Murphy as like a Buffy Summaries
fan,
now,
right?
Like that he like relates her to being a Buffy lookalike.
Buffy's like 5'0" too.
Yeah, that could work in my head. I was like,
oh. But yeah, right? Yeah, they got a lot in common, Buffy and Murphy. Which I get, and I'm like, okay, yes, romantically and symbolically, but it's like, yeah, I don't think the kiss is actually the most important of the wedding. Probably the vows and the I do's are actually what makes that commitment, but it's much more romantic the other way.
I was like, I get it from like, the human point of like, yeah, obviously, the vowing and dedicating yourself mouth, but the fairy being like, whatever, you kiss, who cares? Blah, blah, words, who cares?
Like, Harry's not the only one that can care about boobs, okay?
It's just funny because,
we just want you to get to the good part.
Especially because fairies are bound by the literal things you say. They think they'd also care about the vows, but they're like, no, we don't have time for that. Vows can vary too much. Just fucking seal it with a kiss. Let's go.
Yeah.
Jenny Greenteeth is like, I didn't write anything, so let's just kiss.
I was kind of like off the cuff here.
I promise in sickness and health if I have to, but I mean, jeez.
So yeah, point is now you're on a real big time limit. So thank God Murphy's a cop, and thanks God she just has one of those little bubblegum bubble thingies in her car that she can just slap. I like you. What do you? Keep it in the console on the driver's side. Like, you didn't go and get it.
I was going to say, whatever the point where she
whip it
keeps
out
it in
from
her car,
under your seat.
It should have already been on top from earlier in the day. Like, how did you get to the apartment in 8 minutes without it already being there? And why did you come to underground without speeding already?
Yeah, no, because again, she had no reason to do it then.
She just puts it away every single time.
Yeah.
So like nobody steals it out of her car.
It's like her hairbrush. She's like, I'm not leaving this shit laying around. Like, I'm gonna just... So yeah, boom, off they go.
Getting a lot of mileage out of this short story.
This concludes our episode 16.2, Shellycobbs, Shmellycobbs. Thank you for listening. You can find us online at freeflowrambling.com and McAnallys.ca. There we have links to our other podcasts, social media, and other fun tidbits. Please subscribe if you like what you're hearing, and please consider supporting us through Patreon to keep the magic alive and to see more content. We are Free Flow Rambling. Conjure by it at your own risk.